Your canine host, simonhytte is here. Recently there's been a few videos flying over in my feed. Not that one.
Sculpting UI UX in games is an art of guidance and immersion.
UI design ensures smooth interaction, and AI brings worlds.
AI? What the hell, guys? Is it too hard to make one yourself? I mean, it doesn't have to be the prettiest UI in town. Look at Mark here from GMTK, smooth curves and accessible control icons. I'll give you B+. I like it. UI stands for
Ultra Instinct.
and UX stands for University Xenomorph. So I'll be making my own
Ultra Instinct.
as well as explaining how I would go about it. I have to stress as well, this is my field. I've been doing design commercially as my day job for several years. I make mistakes too, and I'm far from a perfect UI designer. But I worked in the industry. I had a suit and sit at the desk, and I barked at Photoshop every time it crashed. So let's get right into it. This is UI, or user interface. Menus and all of these gizmos player interacts with and show information. This is UX, the user experience, the logic behind where the stuff is and how you use it and how natural it is to use. The first thing you have to consider when making a UI is style. Many games tend to not care about it, but UI is part of the character of the game. Imagine for a moment your game is a character. It should have a personality, a unique look, and a way of speaking. It sounds like I'm doing like marketing blah blah talk, but it's important for the character of the game, trust me. So you're trying to find the voice for the game, but with UI it's not really the end of the world if you don't have a UI that's gonna change someone's life or something. It needs to function and then it can look good and all that jazz. A lot of games have a really great UX and just passable UI, and it doesn't matter. Weirdly, I think indie devs have a decent feel for the UX, however, the UI is usually where they kind of screw up. We're like, what the hell is this, Mason? Mateys! We're gonna build a tower defense game with the most passable UI in all the gaming seas. Why do I keep insulting people? I'm just sure he's a lovely fella and he just didn't know any better. Comment something like we love AR Mason to show him some love. I've decided to take the visual style of Persona 5 and combine it with the more comic book aesthetics of the 50s American golden age of comic books. A bit of Spider-Verse comic book aesthetic to modernize it a bit while keeping the retro game pixel art aesthetic. So the question would be, if a game came out during the period, ignoring the hardware capabilities, what would that look like? I've decided to go for the CMYK colors, cyan, magenta, yellow, and key or black, mainly supported by magenta, which is like the key color for the game. When I did research, I discovered that old comic books were heavily tied to CMYK colors, since the technique of halftone printing, which is obviously different from what we have today. It is a reoccurring element in the game as well. I've tried a lot of options before I landed on the final one. It takes a lot of in-betweens where you try to find out what exactly you're looking for. I like to think of it as discovery rather than making. You're exploring what the form and the ideas can give you and judging what you can find. The font was a huge struggle too. We looked into what's available. I kind of like this font called CC Meanwhile by Comic Craft. Comic Craft is a company with a long-lasting legacy of comic book fonts, so I went to the licensing and checked out and what is that? That's like 9 gazillion bucks! For the younger viewers watching, that's like 10 mummy's credit cards. To solve this rather costly issue, I've DM'd my friend Sander. Sander is a friend of mine and also a designer. We met through Discord several years ago. We agreed on a price and started working on the font. I've prepared detailed instructions according to my research. Come on, I said detailed. We talked about it a bit, I give some feedback, and we landed on this. So say hello to the Spirit Flame font. I've been actually using the font in all of my videos, and it's really nice. Great job, Sand Guy. So combining all of this, I started doing more brainstorming. As you notice, most of the comic books are surprisingly on white paper, so there are different rules there, different visual rules. I started playing with the black inversion, which sounds like some cool superhero name, but no, it's just we're trying to make the comics more dark mode to adjust it for the modern landscape, and it also looks kind of cool. Last time we designed gameplay for our game, so I'll need a laundry list of items. Man, sheets are so important for making games. Task lists, sheets, file names, all of that takes a ton of time, but do it. Otherwise you'll be confused what the hell is stage 1 underscore final new, a 13.5 PNG file. Yeah, what the hell is that even? So I'll need to design the UI for the main menu, the settings, the HUD or HUD, or the journal, and dialog. Boom, settings. I had to Google around and think about what actually should be in the settings, and I boiled it down to these options. I started using these weird angles to break up the design a bit to make it more dynamic. I think it gives it a unique flair I really like, and it differentiates it from comics a bit. Though making these buttons work due to weird sizes is a bit of an ass in the functional department. HUD or heads-up display. Health, mana, bullets, map, how many enemies you killed, and how broken your car is. It does not show you how broken your life is, that is something the game can't show, at least until you buy the battle pass. I had to design buttons and menu icons, so whoop, before and after. I work in Adobe Illustrator for most of these. It normally wouldn't be my first choice, Figma would be, but since this UI is a bit different and isn't that large of a system, I can allow myself a bit more chaos. So, the journal, the place where the player goes to write their answers. That was the only part I entirely remade 2 times, because the first time it was really confusing and it sucked. I had made a separate tab you have to go into, but the design made it really unnatural to understand, and it wasn't that good. I tried to focus on the full screen versus the pop-up rule. If something is a pop-up, it's part of the scene, it's more natural, it's more snappy. If something is a full screen, it requires more attention, it's more closed off. The dialogue, for example, is closed off because the player can sit down and read it in peace, which is the intended use. The journal, on the other hand, was a mistake to close off because it's harder to access, and yeah. It results in an experience that is really odd. Okay, picture this relatable scenario. You're playing the game and find a clue to the question. You open the journal, start typing the answer, and boom, you realize you forgot the answer. So you have to go back, read the clue, and you go back to the journal. Then you forget it again, and so one more trip into the clue menu. And yeah, that is really annoying. So instead, I've decided to make it more pop-up-y and snappier. Easier to open again and again. It also reminds me of a computer terminal, which feeds into the whole fantasy. You could say it's a bit skeuomorphic design as well. A buzzword of the day for ya. Skeuomorphic design means it looks like the real thing. Think of iPhone 4. The camera looks like a real camera, and YouTube looks like 50s TV. Wait, huh? I also added the sliding animation so it feels more satisfying to open. Animation should be part of UI as well, so you can hide and simplify a lot of things with animations. So that's the UI, baby. UX is pretty simple for our game. We use corners of the screen for the buttons. Menu is sensible enough. Save games have one state, so no selector. Not much to add really. We'll find a lot of these mistakes in testing, where we observe dogs play our game. I mean, I'm a dog, so I might as well test it on my friends. Let's get to the voting. Last episode, we voted about the place order music for our game, so here are the results. The winner ended up being, yes, the music works for me and fits. So we'll end up using some of the music in the final game, and we'll see how it works. I hope you like this new format I'm trying with these videos, more down-to-earth videos. But Tubbs, it's time for me to head out. I just smelled a freshly opened bag of dog treats in my proximity. Thank you for watching, bye!